advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It's the Al Tillman Show.
Al Tillman.
Every Thursday at 4:30 p.m.
Right here on The Glory.
Al Tillman.
It's going too far. You think we've gotten too radical with our message? Well, I got news for you. You ain't heard nothing yet.
In R. Kelly news, he threw.
And if you don't know, now you know. Glory, glory.
With guest appearances by Miss Maylene.
Don't get me going here.
Tune in every Thursday at 4:30.
Put them hands together.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Al Tillman Show right here on The Glory. 107.9 FM coming to you.
Let the show begin.
Let's get it on here.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, good afternoon, all that good stuff. This is Al Tillman. Welcome to the Al Tillman Show. This is how we're doing it right here on a Thursday, coming to you live at 4:30 p.m. That's right, we're here on the Glory, WDDO.live, one of the longest stations around. You know, you can listen to us on the FM brand, 107.9. Or if you're on social media, we're streaming live as well. Although I don't even see my live feed. What's my live feed at, man? Looking for my live feed. They got my live feed. Is my camera on? You can stream live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah, all that good stuff. Periscope, LinkedIn. You can listen to us live on the Glory app at the Apple Store, Google Play, WDDO.live, man. You know, we're just blessed to be here. So many things happening. People are leaving us and leaving this world, man. You know, one of our comedians, matter of fact, two of our comedians we lost within the last week or so. BT's Comic View, Courtney G. HBO Def Comedy Jam, Courtney G. Passed away. So we want to send prayers and thoughts out to his family as well. Yeah, and man, it's just tough, man, for some of our entertainers as well. Rapper Takeo of the Amigos lost his life up in Houston, Dallas area as well. I don't know if y'all can see me out there. We're trying to get our live feed back. Is our live feed coming back, Mr. Engineer? We trying to get our live feed. I mean, yeah. I mean, my screen. I can't see my screen. That's why I was saying my screen is dark in here. But we're good. And so we also lost one of our Teague Entertainment artists, Tanita Camp, known as Dirty South. We lost her as well. And so, wow, you know. She was one of those comedians, female comedians out of Atlanta, originally from Monroe, Georgia, but been living in Atlanta for a while. And I remember years ago getting a call from one of our folks and saying, "Hey, man, you gotta see this artist," you know. And so Dirty South was born. Yeah. Matter of fact, you can go to our social media page on our Teague Entertainment page, our Teager page. And we got a recent video of her. And one thing about us when we started with artists, man, you know, they didn't have to start in comedy clubs or small markets. We were touring way back in 1999, man. And so we were at the Macon City Auditorium, 1999. And that's the show she's on. We're in there with over 2,000 people. In 1999, you can go to the Teager Entertainment page on social media. It's Teager, Teeger, space Teeger. And man, we had some heavy hitters on that show. Ricky Smiley was hosting. He and Mac Boosie both was hosting. And we're going to put up some stuff probably in about another week or two. Ricky Smiley as well. Ricky Smiley was in there. Special K, who's on the Ricky Smiley show, he was there that night. Nancy, Bellamy, who just did the movie up in L.A. Bob and Weave, she was on that show. Shouty was on that show. Dexter T from Alabama was on that show back in 1999. And we've got all the stuff. The Keys was on that show, so we had a lot of HBO and BET comedians, Smoke, Jacko, all the guys were on that show, and we've got the footage, and the footage has been lost. And so my webmaster has always had the footage, been working on it, but we did a rush job and try to get Dirty South stuff on there. So you have it on there. So let me do this, man. I want to be able to see my feed, so I'm gonna do this, Mr. Engineer. I'm gonna say let's go to a commercial and or two, and let's see if we can come back and get my screen right. I don't want to be able to see the screen. But I mean, if we fine, we fine. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. And we got a special guest in the house. Let me tell you something. We don't often have people pull up in limousines with security and all of that stuff. But this brother here has done all of that. And so we gonna roll the carpet out for him. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. Give us a minute here.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's T.I., the King speaking. And as we all know, I've not always made the right choices in life that I made. Be smart and make the correct choice. Join Al Tillman, the Unity Community family, along with me, T.I., and choose not to join gangs, do drugs, or use guns. Make the right choice, and you can have whatever you like in life. Go online and download the brochure today at www.unitytoday.com and tell them T.I. sent you.
Yeah, tell him the king sent you. He's got some issues right now with Charleston White, my guy, T.I., man. He's got some issues up there with Charleston White. Got a new spot as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring on this guy. And like I say, when I pulled up today, I had all this security outside, had this limousine pull up, and then they had to come and sweep the building for this gentleman here. But I want to kind of introduce him. No matter how old you get in life, and I always tell my son, anybody I'm talking to and mentoring, no matter how old you get in life, although you can be married with children, whatever, there's always somebody you still can talk to, and that'll advise you, and there's still some people you need to just listen to. Now it's gonna sound like we both are boasting and bragging today, and maybe we are, but I want y'all to know and hear this story and hear this brother, because this is to me is an inspiration, and I'm thrilled to have him on the show because he's inspired me so much. When I need to talk to somebody, go to somebody, he's that voice. He's that voice of reason. Before I ever made a move in politics, everybody goes to him, whether you're black or white, young or old, business folks. He's just got an ear for everybody, and so that's the dealio. And they I don't know why they're asking you to put your headsets on, as though you can hear me.
Yeah,
You hear me fine. You don't need them.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you the owner of Mutual Financial, Mr. Billy Pitts.
Good
We're gonna
evening.
bring him on.
Hello, Rick.
What's going on, brother?
Trying to hold on, man, every day.
Man, listen, man. I didn't set you up, boast and brag. You done pulled up and all this security and limousine and everything. I'm gonna get you in trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, been doing business here in Macon for so long, man. Listen, man. Johnson C. Smith, graduate out of Charlotte, Mutual Finance, chairman of the Tillman African American Museum, with all that jazz. And my motto, and I'm gonna see if he can finish it. Make a friend
Before you need them.
before you need them.
Or make friends before you need them.
There you go. My brother. Billy Pitt, what's going on, man?
All right, man. Can't complain.
Billy, man, so many young folks, man, out here are dying. What folks don't realize, and we talk about this all the time, I've often wanted you in here because, you're not only my advisor, I'm a client. Mutual Finance. Tell people about Billy Pitts and what is Mutual Finance.
Okay. I'm a typical young man like a lot of people see. And I tell people all the time, see beyond what they see. Because all of us typically are a lot more than people see. I just happen to have a dream, have a vision, and work real hard to make that dream and vision come through. And I tell people sometimes I got some of the best advice I've ever gotten was from my dad when I was getting ready to go to college. And he said, "Son, let me tell you a few things." And I didn't say what. I said, "Yes, sir." And
Mm-hmm.
number one, he said, son, make sure the first degree that you get from that school you're going to in North Carolina offers the CS degree.
Can I say what the CS degree is?
Yeah, so,
And you taught me so well.
yeah,
Common sense, my
common
brother.
sense. And I found he was so right. I deal with a lot of people from the top level to the bottom level. And what I found out, the people who have the highest level of common sense are so much easier to deal with. And it's been true over the years. The next thing he said, son, you got to work. Nothing is easy. It's not supposed to be easy. So he didn't say work ethic back then. He said, you got to work. And so I'm still working today. Because if you want to make it to wherever you want to make it to, you got to work.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I think he said, and it's probably, I guess, more important, he said, son, just make sure you treat people right. He didn't say biblically do unto others. He just make sure you treat people right. So if I look back over my career, that little simple formula that he gave to me, I kind of stayed with it and it worked.
Yeah. Now, Billy, and I can I call you Billy,
Sure,
Mr.
sure,
Pitts?
Billy.
I have so much admiration and respect for you for years and years. Before I even got into a lot of stuff, I would come and hear you along with other men in the community, and there was a couple of us that was just young guys, just can just coming, couldn't go to college or school to get the knowledge and the wisdom that you all were given, and a lot of it was kind of tough love, man, from men that had been in the trenches and had been through the civil rights era, been through the business, the school era, and sometimes I used to get so much flack. And I remember one day you called me and you was like, "Hey, man, I want you to stay the course. I want you to come back and keep coming back and stay the course."
I remember.
Yeah, yeah. Because you was like, it's tough love, but you got to stay the course. Because sometimes, Billy, those meetings aren't always good meetings. They can be boring and all of that. But if you stay into it, you'll eventually get to a place that you're trying to get to, man. And that's what I've learned from you and so many others is that we have to not only give back, but once we get to the table, we got to make sure we take care of everybody else. And that's one of the things I want to talk about is giving back to others, because sometimes we know others don't always give back to us,
Right.
but they're always looking for a handout.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it.
Well, one of the things that you had, Al, that you probably didn't know you had the ability to listen. And what I found that people, especially being alpha males, you think you know some things and you do know some things. But what I found out in a conversation, there's somebody talking and there's somebody listening. Where on either end of the conversation, if there's no listening on your end, you're missing a lot of stuff. And sometimes you may not want to listen to it. You may not agree with it. But what I found out, if you're going to have a real high level of communication, somebody's got to be talking and somebody's got to be listening. And what I found out, once you sit back and you find out that you can listen, whether you agree or disagree, you're creating the path for you to succeed in whatever it is you want to succeed in.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Al Tillman, and we're sitting here talking to the Billy Pitts, one of the African American entrepreneurs, business owners that has helped so many folks in our community, black, white, been a part of our chamber of Macon-Bibb County. What I want to talk about, because I want to be able to discuss, go back to mutual finance, the importance of insurance, life insurance, and all of that. But I want to go back and just talk about some of the things you've done that folks don't know and realize, because you're one of those folks behind the scene that everybody comes to, or a lot of folks have came to for help and advice. But just talk about the importance of the chamber and the business community, and how you have seen Macon Bibb in your hometown, or the place that you live now, grow and become where it is today.
That's a great question, Al. You know me now for a long time and others, but sometimes people don't know that I've been at the table in negotiation discussion for some of the major corporations that are located in Macon, namely her Nietzsche Corporation, Sarah Lee, the Tire Kumo Tire, Bass Pro Shop. I have been at the negotiating table to get those organizations and companies to come to Macon. And there are a lot of particular black people, but all people have benefited by the better jobs, better pay, and all the benefits these companies have. And fortunately, I was in a position to be there to help negotiate some of these deals. And a lot of people in the black community in particular, they didn't know that I was only the second minority that ever headed up a business group of 150 years. I was only the second minority. And of course, the first minority was Bill Hutchings, and some people thought that he might have been someone else. But with me, when they saw me, they realized who I was.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of good things, and we did it behind the scenes in a quiet, slow basis. And one of the things I'm very proud of, that I was asked to chair the committee to bring the fiscal independence to the Board of Education.
Yeah.
I went to every high school, middle school, elementary school, PTA, and talked about the importance of our elected officials being able to make a decision, and with our board, with our superintendent, on what we needed. Now, I told them, I'm not supporting you. I'm supporting you. Ought to have the right of a business person to decide what you need. And if you don't do the right thing, then we're going to come back and remove you.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I want to explain to folks what you mean by physical independence for the Bibb County school system. And ladies and gentlemen, what you're hearing is making Bibb County government is a government arm and entity that gives so many different agencies funds. Money comes in right now. There's $190 million budget. At one point, the Bibb County school system had to come to Macon Bibb County to get their money.
yeah, the Board of Commissioners.
Right.
Before
And so you were one of the guys that said, hey, the school board should be physically sound and have its own independence to make its own decision and its own funding.
And be responsible.
For it. And how's that worked out?
Well, for the first time, you may not know this, but we were the only school system in the entire state of Georgia that operated that way. So either everybody else was right and we were wrong, or vice versa. And so when I researched it and everything, from a business standpoint, it made no good sense to me. If I'm going to hold you accountable and responsible for educating our kids, then you need to control the money in the budget.
Yeah.
And the fact is, now when they get their tax forms, they see the Board of Commissioners, they see the all the taxing entities, and so Bibb County Board of Education is a taxing entity now. And I think it worked out better this way than it was in the past.
Yeah. Now, what most folks don't realize, and I'm saying y'all hearing Billy Pitts, but he's one of those pioneers in the community that's done so much, and he's inspired me. The 100 Black Men, he's one of the original founders, and it was all about education. And I want you to share what most folks don't know, because I think with his Ingram Price School, there's a 5th grade class of years ago that you guys paid for all of them to go to college.
That's exactly right.
And right here in Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
And so share a little bit of that 100 Black Men history and the importance of that education, because that also is very important to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary. Myself, Virgil Adams, and Sam Hart, we're the founders of the 100 Black Men of Maconville, Georgia. And we spent a year over at the old Shoney's building off Riverside Drive, setting up this format and foundation of what we want to do in this community to improve the community, not to improve us as individuals, but improve the community. And we had several things. The first thing was Project Reach. Danny Glover happened to be in that same class, Ingram Pie. Frank Tompkins was the principal at the time. And we decided that we would get one of our more challenging neighborhoods and go to these kids and go to the superintendent, go to the commissioners, and say that if these kids stay in school, and we want to create a partnership with their parents, with the school system and us, if they stay in school, we would pay for their entire college education. And that's room and board, books, everything. So from the 5th grade on, we did that. We had a graduating class. We actually ended up having over 25 of those kids actually go to school, attend school. How can you imagine somebody's telling you that doesn't know you, they're not your mama, your dad, or anything else, but they tell you, if you do this, I'm going to make sure you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
And it's been one of our major successes.
Yeah. Now, tell everybody what's the 100 Black Men are made of, because, you know, a lot of times people look and just say, oh, you got all this funding, and where you get this funding for? These are businessmen, African-American males, that had their own money and funding that did this.
Yeah. And when you say, where did they get it from? We got it from us.
Right.
And we intentionally did that because we wanted to be able to do the things we felt was more important and not be limited by one of our sponsors. We want sponsorship, we want partners. But in the bottom line is we want to have our funding to do the things we think are most important. And back then, my good friend and mentor, D.T. Walton, when I came to him with that idea, if you know how D.T. used to talk, he said, Bill, I don't know, boy. I don't know whether you be able to get these men to pay $1,000. And I said, DT, I think if they understand our story, this is not a civic club, it's not a partying organization, it's a community civic-based organization to affect our community in a positive way. And so if you remember 25 years ago, Al, I know you had a lot of money back then, but a lot of people didn't have any money. And so here we came up and asking somebody to commit to $1,000.
That's it.
Now, people like me and Virgin Sam, we've been doing this for over 25 years. And you do the math, that's commitment.
Yeah. That is true commitment. Yeah. I want to go back because you've been a part of so many groups and organizations, but I want to go back to something that you and I talk about, and I want to go back to Mutual Financial. One of the people that I brought to you and wanted you to mentor was my daughter when she was getting ready to go to college, because you majored. Now listen to this, folks. A lot of people go to school. A lot of us as African American go to school and just want the easy route. We're going to take up business. And a lot of folks go to school, not knocking you if you've done that. But one of the things that you rarely hear or know, or you meet somebody taking up finance. You was a finance major and a finance person.
And
economics. And you trying to talk to my daughter. And I was like, Lord, please let her go take up economics and finance and the money, because that's what you do. Let's talk about the aspect of mutual finance and the importance of financing and money, because that's what life and the driving force is sometimes about. And we're gonna get back to your preaching in your future life, but the economics, my brother.
We live in America, and America is about economics and about money. And if we don't have access to some of it, we won't ever get ahead. I tell people all the time, what do? I say, I'm in the money business.
That's right.
I take the people to the money and the money to the people. And when I was in college and I was in a course where the professor was drawing on the board our economic system, money, banking, insurance, investment, the stock market. And I remember distinctly, I hit the desk. I said, that's what I want to know. I don't want to change the system. I just want to know how I can work the system for me, my family, and my people. So therefore, the degree was in there. And now, and so I'm a registered financial advisor. What that means, I'm monitored by the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission. I have to all the licenses and the classes and everything you knew, because I've got to be able to make sure I'm recommending the very best things for my clients. Not some, but the very best. And so to me, if I can help people achieve economic success, to me, I have made a difference in their lives. You can talk and talk, but if you don't have anything to back it up, that when your daughter's ready to go to college, when you get ready for retirement, or you and I talk, if you have good family and friends, all of a sudden they pass away and everybody's still trying to pass the hat.
Right.
I just think
the GoFundMe account. You can't sell enough plates to bury your loved one.
Yeah.
But if you go see Billy Pitts, Mutual Finance. So let's talk about it. We got over 50 homicides in some small cities. And all these young folks that are dying and don't have insurance, and we talked about it, if they can just come to you, because we know that sometimes insurance is less than a meal at Applebee's, a meal at some of these restaurants. And so Billy, what is it that moms, grandmamas that's listening need to understand about the financial position of insurance for their loved ones?
Unfortunately, a lot of our parents always believe that little Johnny, little Sally, nothing's going to happen to them until it happens.
Yeah.
And then what are we going to do? And sometimes it's not about just your health, it's other things too. Unfortunately, some of our kids, they get in harm's way, and harm's way takes over. You and I talked about doing a seminar, and I think you were shocked. I showed you a contract for $25,000 on a 9 or 10 square. I think it was $9 or $10. You said, is that all? So for $25,000, I could cover my child for $9 or $10 a month? Yeah. I said, yeah.
And Billy, in some instances, if the parent just have insurance, because a lot of these young men we know are dying under the age of 25.
That's true.
If the parent just has insurance, the child is automatically covered in your plan and your policies up to age 25.
Mhm.
Do I have that correct?
Well, that's on the health end, but on the life, they cover past that. On the health insurance end, yeah, they're gonna be covered to their 26. But on the life insurance, just think about you or me.
Okay.
If our parents had been able to do this when we were 5 years, 10 years old, see, with that life insurance, you build equity, money. And so when you get ready to go into business or something, you could take that contract there and use it for collateral to get you more money.
Yeah. Just sitting around you, brother, just talking about the stock market made me understand it. But in our culture of African Americans sitting around a table, that's not what parents are talking about. They're not talking about education. They're not talking about voting. They're not talking about economics. A lot of times, parents just say, "Boy, go to school and get an education. A girl, go to school, get an education, get you a job, and get out of here." You know,
Yeah.
I mean, does that message? Is it time for that message to change?
Well, it's time for it to be reemphasized. You probably know I spent 20 years at Central Georgia Tech. They recruited me from when Bibb County Tech was transitioned Central Georgia Tech, and I'm a big believer in technical education. I don't think everybody necessarily has to go to college
That's
and
right.
be successful.
Mhm.
Somebody may disagree, but if you do, that's nothing wrong with it. I went to college, but I had a father that was a hands-on, could build, fix, and make anything, and I watched him through my life. I thought he was smart. He didn't have a college degree. So I was real involved with Central Georgia Tech because if you can go out and get you a very good paying job to take care of your wife and your family and be successful, I think I think that's what it's all about.
I don't know. I don't know sometimes what our folks are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Al Tillman Show. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, and LinkedIn. We're sitting here talking to the brains. You know, when I come back, I'm gonna talk to him, and he's inspired me to tell my story. And he always says, "Share your story." So we're gonna be right back in a second. We're gonna get into this about brothers shooting and killing each other. All right, y'all check this out. We'll be right back with Mr. Billy Pitts.
Why, my black brother? Why are you killing one another? Your Uzis, your AK-47, the Magnum, do they really fit to your profile? Is that what you're all about? Why is it that you're not concerned with your education? Where will you be 20 years from now? Why must you become involved in a game? What does the color that I wear have to do with who I am? Do you think it's cool to wear your pants down to your knees? Is it okay to call a female out of her name? Why have you become so violent? What goes through your mind when committing a drive-by shooting where so many times innocent children as well as adults lose their lives? What has happened in your young life to bring you to this point? Let's come together and reason. We must rebuild our neighborhoods and our schools. Perhaps we must begin by rebuilding within ourselves. Together, we're able to make a difference. So in closing, I ask, why not, my brother? Why not?
That's a powerful sister. Why not, my brother? Why not? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Al Tillman sitting here with Billy Pitts. One of the things I want to bring up, man, is I didn't realize when I met you that you and my uncle had worked in insurance business a long time, and I was interested in politics. And I remember talking to you, and one of the things you said, because you taught me so much, because I was in entertainment at the time, and I used to come around because, you always dress sharp, head to toe, and I was coming around, and sometimes I'd be so dressed up. Do you remember telling me you was like, Al, you get into politics now, you got to tone it down, you know,
Yeah,
you got to tone it down because you got to be able to relate to the people.
Mhm.
And here you are, as successful as you are, the cars you drive. I pull up one day in a store and you out there talking to the boys in the hood with your suit and tie on. I'm like, hey, man, ain't you scared?
And what did I tell you?
No, man. I grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't forget where I came from.
That's right.
You may leave the hood, but it can still be in you.
And Al, that's going back to being true to who you are. So you can the clothes, the cars, the lifestyle doesn't really make you. A lot of people think what makes you is you, and knowing who you are. And if you know who you are, there's no reason for you to be afraid of somebody that looks like you. Part of our problem is sometimes we have this developed this hatred toward somebody that looks like you because you've got a lot of self hate. I love me, but also I can love you for who you are.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out because we spend a lot of time trying to educate young men and women. Some just see the glamorous life, or they see you, or they see somebody else, and they just think it just happened overnight. But there's a process. You're from a small town in Twiggs County. Jess was honored. You're always honored. You probably live here in Macon-Bibb County longer than you lived in Twiggs County, but you're still giving back to your hometown.
Yeah. Well,
Why,
actually,
why is it
it's Wilkerson
Wilkerson
County.
County?
Now, I know a lot of people in Tweeds got a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
relatives.
So why is it important to still give back even this day and time, because your success, and why do you continue to go back and give back to Wilkerson County?
You know, I spent a lot of years there, and my developmental years were there. My mother used to tell me, said, Billy, I don't want you to do anything in the dark that you can't bring to the light. And so at the time, I didn't know exactly what she meant, but it wasn't long before she did. So to bring uh, 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 respect to my parents, the way I was raised, and even when I left there and went to college in North Carolina, I was around kids from New York City, D.C., Chicago, all over the East Coast. And I was a former athlete, of course, so I always felt like that I was as good as anybody else. So one day we was out on the practice on the court scrimmaging, and I had a good day. And one of my friends, even this day, he's about 6'4", lives in Danville, Virginia now, but he's from River Rouge, Michigan. And he said, well, Billy, you can play. I said, well, yeah, I try to play a little bit, but it gave me some credibility. And as they say, the rest is history. And I've always thought that I was as good as anybody else, no matter whether they were black, white, where they were from. But you got to work at it. It's just like people say, success is a journey. It's not a
That's
destination.
right.
And that answers your question. I'm always thinking that I could do more or do a little better. I don't ever get to the point where I've done it all or I have it all. So there's always more you can do if you have that in your. And I learned that from DT.
And people, they don't oftentimes listen, because I got some folks I talk to and mentor, and that I think sometimes when they don't want to hear stuff,
Yep.
they start telling you, "Oh, you ain't my daddy. You sound like my daddy," and whatever. And so whether you're trying to be their friend, whether you're in a relationship or whatever, if it's your wife, your son, man, you genuinely care. And I try to tell folks, if I didn't care nothing about you, I wouldn't tell you and share this stuff. Why? And Billy, can you talk about that? Why? Get people to understand that's listening, that feels like you're criticizing them, but folks walk around every day and just look and never say a word.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even say there's a piece of paper. You dropped $1 out your pocket. Hey, you need to tie your shoe, whatever. But sometimes you take an interest in somebody. They think there's always an ulterior motive.
Yeah. And that's one of the proudest moments I've had. My daughter graduated from Central High School, went through the entire Bibb County public schools, no private schools, and even though I was trying to be recruited and everything else, and she was having a birthday party once she graduated, and I happened to walk outside all these kids, these little cars and everything, and I heard her talking to a young man, and I guess he was trying to tell her something, but I never had this conversation with her, and she said, "What do you mean?" She said, "I got a daddy." So I heard her say that, and to me, she was letting him know that she's okay because she's got a daddy.
Mhm.
And sometimes some of our kids, you got a daughter. But one of the proudest things is that she know that she's got a father. She knows that if she gets in trouble, she's got a father to go to. And unfortunately, so many of our young ladies and young men, they don't have any place to go. When we started the Project Reach, one of our members, we almost took in these kids. This guy lived in a beautiful house. He's very successful. And these kids got so attached to him. But one of the things we found out that some of the homes he was coming out of, they wanted to offer their child up as payment for something.
Mm.
And he said, no. He said, I'm just here to help these kids and everything. But he was so shocked by that.
Yeah.
By somebody just trying to do good to help somebody.
Yeah. Man, and that's the thing. What I want to talk about is something that folks would be shocked to find out about. I'm in entertainment, and me and you can relate on so many levels. One of the things that used to come to Macon, Georgia, for years was the Ebony Fashion Fair. And if y'all received those Ebony magazine, how about This Was the Man behind the scene of the Ebony Fashion Fair coming to make, and I miss those events, man. Talk about the Ebony Fashion
20
Fair.
years, eh?
20 years of Ebony Fashion. And I don't know if that's where you got your style from, my brother, but the Ebony Fashion Fairs and entertainment, I miss it, man.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Well, it started from being recruited by Billy Aaron, Hank Aaron's wife. And that recruitment, that relationship is
The great Hank
the
Aaron.
great Hank Aaron, the baseball great Hank, who's been down to Macon, and I took him to Brown and Williamson, to L.E. Schwartz and Sons. And when the Braves first got their first World Series, and I played baseball. I played baseball until I was 50 years old. And he and I had a lot to talk about and everything else. But when he came to Macon and I saw him live and in person and told him about my experience with baseball, and I told him I'd never been live to World Series. Well, when the Braves got in the World Series, his wife told me to call his office, sold out, couldn't get tickets. So call his office, he gets me 3 tickets from my 2 comrades, and we get to our first World Series. You talking about exciting.
Oh,
And
man.
we was walking down Peachtree Street at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, just celebrating. But that came from the UNCF where his wife, Billy, went to Betty Hutchins, and Betty Hutchins came to me to start a United Negro College Fund campaign in Macon, Georgia. And Al, they asked me to raise $25,000 in 13 weeks.
Mm.
And we raised 27.
Wow. And you continue to do that. You've been
Continue
doing
to-
that.
yeah, oh, yeah.
I want to talk about your inspiration and you inspiring me, man. I didn't have the best life, single mom, father shot and killed by police. I did go and join the military. It helped change my life. Had 2 young sons by 2 different girls. And when I got into the world of entertainment, and I was sharing my story with you early on, and I never tell people my true story. And one day you told me, after seeing and listening to me, you said, Al, you need to start telling your story. So what is that you saw or see? Why did you say to me, I need to start sharing my story? Because I saw it as, I didn't want folks on one end to feel sorry for me. But then when I became successful at something, I didn't want them to see me as bragging.
Mm-hmm.
And so help me understand
Well,
when
Al,
you was like, Al, you need to start telling your story.
what I saw, Al, and I think you tried to hide something, but you cared. So you cared about. I saw that in you. Cared about people. You weren't quite sure how you would express it because you macho, you're alpha male, and you know you're a male, and so sometimes, well, I can't act this way or be soft. And see, sometimes we think the men see you so where they see you soft and take advantage. Well, you was never soft, but you didn't always come out and express your real self. And see, sometimes people see you and they know you, but they don't know your story. And that's why I tell you, everybody, people see me, they hear about me.
Yeah.
I had a call today from the guy at the hospital, and some guy said he knew me. I had no idea who he is. Now he probably does, but I don't know him. And so when you get a chance to tell people your story, even to your wife sometimes, even to your children, they only see you as the provider, this is everything else, but sometimes they don't know your story. And so all of us, you, me, and people need to be able to tell our story to people who our genuine self really is. And if it's good enough, it will spread around, just like you. You have kind of spread around this community now, being involved in a lot of things, but that wasn't the case 15 years ago or 20 years ago. But now, because you are who you are, and you're trying to do better for your community, it puts you in a different light.
Well, let's go back and talk about the Triangle Center, something you created to be able to help folks, give folks an office, not only an office and a space, but folks that need a place to live.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the importance of the Triangle Center right over near the Mercer downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
You, as an African American, created. Tell us, what is the Triangle Center and what it consists of?
The Triangle Business Center is 13 executive office suites that are designed for businesses who are starting, who want to expand, want to grow, with the least amount of money, because they're already furnished, utilities included, Wi-Fi is included, janitorial included, got big conference rooms, got employee lounge. It's very, very nice. So everything you need to do to be in business, be successful, is right there. And I had vision in my mind to create a place where you can create synergy and energy, where we can bring people together, help each other out, and achieve success. If you know my back wall, I've got on there where success happens. It was a subliminal message that I want people to see. When you're going in, you're struggling, you don't know where you're going, but yes, you can. It's not about me, it's about you. And I've given the opportunity. And the building used to be Putzels Lighting, and I've been in my building for over 25 years now. And I had never known there was an upstairs. So the guy came over and took me upstairs, and I said, "Oh, I didn't know this was it." The building's about 20,000 square feet. And a friend of mine from Columbia, South Carolina, his goddaughter was here at Mercer getting her with Nicky Reynolds. She and Nicky Reynolds in the same class. And they couldn't find a place to live.
Right.
And Mercer was up the street.
You're in a health degree.
Yeah,
Degree in health.
that's it. Public health.
Public health.
And so he told me to look around for a place. And so I started looking. I said, well, maybe I can turn this into, I went up to Atlanta to IKEA to see how they take smaller spaces, make it livable. So I did that. So we got 12 apartments, 4 2-bedrooms and 8 singles, already furnished, radio, TV, desk, stove, refrigerator, all there. All they got to do is come in, and it's already there for them. Again, making things come.
Yeah, and what's unique about it is lights included, water's included,
All utilities.
all utilities. There's not many folks offering something like that, man. And that's what I'm talking about, the genuine. Why do you do this stuff? You know, I mean, you're successful, you know, giving back. And one of the things I hear you talk about all the time, you know, although you're in economics and you're a financial guy, I've heard you say, Al, it ain't all the time about the money. You know, if you just do right and treat people right, the money coming.
The money's coming.
But people don't always treat you right.
Well, you absolutely
People don't always treat me right.
And
But we got to keep going, my brother.
Well, for different reasons, people sometimes think that they want to hurt you. And if they hurt you, that will destroy you or take away. And what I use to do that, I use that as motivation. I use it as motivation when somebody's trying to hurt me intentionally. I try to turn it around and say, well, yes, I would. I started this business in my own because I left MetLife. I was fortunate enough and blessed to have the top producing agency in Georgia, here in Macon, Georgia. Dr. OK and I, we went into business together. We were very fortunate. But then because of circumstances, MetLife decided they want to reposition me. And I was the most successful office in the state. I said, well, wait a minute. If I'm going to stay in the business, I might as well stay in the business working for myself. So that was the whole idea where I incorporated the Mutual Financial Group, LLC, and started my own firm, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. And you got a great team and a great staff. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Al Tillman Show right here, streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, LinkedIn. You can listen to us on the Glory app at the Apple Store. It's the Google Play Store, WDDO.live. And I'm sitting here talking to my mentor, somebody y'all just need to get to know. If you don't have insurance, you need to come and visit and meet this brother. If you're trying to get in the stock market and you got some extra funds and you don't know what to do with it, you need to come and talk to Billy Pitts. When we come back, we're going to talk about, hey, he's got another title. He's the chairman of the Tillman African American Museum. It's been very successful under his leadership since he's taken over this thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back more with Mr. Billy Pitts. And this is Al Tillman, and we'll be right back.
Middle Georgia, get ready! Sunday, November 13th for Jamming and Jokes, a live DVD taping. Come smile for the cameras and be seen on TV with BET's coming to you, Mo Williams.
In the middle of everybody working at Wawa, other than the mud. Is it me? I mean, do you have to be ugly to get a job? I don't know. I remember one time I went to Wawa, I saw a good-looking girl working. I said, look, they holding you hostage. Because I can call the police.
Come see Tiger Entertainment Fashion Models and AJ the DJ. Sunday, November 13th. Doors open at 6 p.m. at the Macon Center Plex Monument Room. Reserve your tables now. Tickets available at the Centralplex box office, Miss Stella's, Q Mobile Wireless, Discount Check Cashing, and Eventbrite.com. Call 478-781-8003. Brought to you by Tiger Entertainment, Platinum Crown Management, and Unity and Community Partners.
Yeah, we're going to play this right here. We're going to be right back with OG Mike. Come on, OG Mike. Talk to us, man. What you got for us, my brother? So much. We don't let Billy Pitts hear some of this because, in his second life, he's gonna be a pastor, y'all.
Yeah, I've been through so much in my life. God, you were with me through it all. You never turned your back on me. You never gave up on me. I love you so much. Yeah. Born and raised in Macon, Georgia. I grew up in Pleasant Hill. I want to give you something you can feel and keep it real. Around age 15, my homies taught me how to deal. A lot of drugs, but they didn't teach me how to live. For the true and living God, the one that put me here. For the forgiving God, the one that will bring me near. He will bring me close. He will wipe away every tear. Falling down my face, he can take away every fear. Nah, but my homies didn't tell me about that. They just told me get this money, smoke weed, sell crack, sex as many girls as you can. Dog chase the cat, drop out of school, you can get more money in the trap. Talk about money, sex, and drugs when you rap. Talk about gang banging and shooting at your enemies. All this negative energy around me. Who you expect me to hold? Change my life, and I love you so much. Yeah, God, you saved my life, and I love you so much, so much, so much. So much, so much, so much. God, you changed my life, and I love you so much. God, you saved my life, and I love you so much, so much, so much. So much, so much, so much. All black on, running the streets.
Yeah, that is OG Mike right there, man. Yeah, brother. Did some serious time in prison. Got out and changed his life. He's from Pleasant Hill. Now he's hanging out under the label of Canton Jones. And OG Mike, his wife's also a musician doing some big things. Speaking of God, Billy Pitts, man, sometimes you call you get a sermon from you, man. I'll say sometime that in your next lifetime, you're gonna be a pastor, a preacher, man. Because you can give a good word sometime.
I can. Ain't God good?
Ain't God good?
Ain't God good?
How good he been to you, brother?
More than I deserve. But at the same time, I was telling Pastor James Baker the other day, when God left here and he left his only begotten son that we may live and have a better life and a more abundant life. And I asked Reverend Baker, I said, when you go to church Sunday, what you going to talk to the congregation? You can ask the question, what are we going to do now?
What we gonna do now?
If God has already done this for us now, for you to be able to live, for you to have a more abundant life, what are we going to do now? Yeah. And I think that here with elections and politics, I'll kid you sometimes down at the commission, you got to look at sometimes, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What are we going to do now?
Yeah.
And so that's a big deal.
Well, one of the things that I've learned from you guys is, the motto of make a friend before you need a friend, or make friends before you need friends, is that once you get to the table, everybody's not going to be happy with you. Because sometimes and sometimes the other side, and I'll just say some of the white businessmen, they always sometimes look for us as African American to compromise. But we just got to be smart. And I understand those conversations we used to have, and some of you guys have lived longer than some of us, and you just think we're gonna get tricked, and we have, and we've been tricked. But if, like you say, if we sometimes do a little bit more listening than talking, but when you get to the table, because you're helping us get there. And I think the important part is once you get to the table, you can't be foolish. You cannot look back and see, hey, I got to bring some folks with me, But the importance of sitting around that table, what are you gonna give back? It's
and
one
also
of the things.
realizing that you sit at the table, but it's not all about you
That's right.
at the table. It's who else can be at the table, and who you can bring in at the table.
Yeah, and that's usually a missing piece, man, for folks that look like us. Because a lot of times, once we get there, we feel like we've arrived and we've made it. But you have to always remember who you are, and that it's not about you.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're making popular decisions as opposed to right decisions.
Yeah.
And you say that, I heard you say that sometime. Are you doing what's right?
Mm-hmm. Are you
You know.
you hear me say, are you doing the right thing?
Yeah. What's that motto? It's three things. Was that group, the Downtown Rotary, is very important. I've heard you quote it sometimes. Share that with
Is
folks.
the truth.
Is it the truth?
Yeah. Does it benefit all concerned?
Does it benefit all concerned?
And Al, they gave me that. They asked me to speak at the Rotary about the 100 Black Men. I said, "You want me?" Yeah. And they gave me that little motto there, and I thought it was so significant because if we lived our lives the way they preached that motto,
Yeah.
does it benefit all concerned? Is it the truth? And I forget what the other, but it was four. Those four things they say, and I just say, well, that's your answer right there.
Well, unfortunate, man. A lot of times, they don't oftentimes live that truth because when they come out of church, does all this preaching and teaching come home with you
That's it.
from church?
Al, I like to say to people, love everybody. There's nothing wrong biblically. But when you love somebody else more than you love yourself or your people, our friend Mr. Bill, you gave a name for that. And it's true. And what I've discovered working in the business world, some people by any means necessary is about the money, the power, and the control.
Yeah.
Who has it?
Money, power, and control.
Yeah.
I teach and I tell young men that, and even young women, that folks looking at you trying to do business with you. I'm here trying to help you, and you just blaming and accusing and don't realize the teaching that I've been taught and the people that surrounded me that can help you and me. And I tell folks all the time, well, my friends can become your friends. But folks don't always understand that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about you as the chairman of the African American Tubman Museum and the importance of it. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, all that jazz, that's once a year we get a chance to dress up. Now, we got to support the Tubman year round. I'm a former board member, but, all that jazz this year is going to be happening on January 28th in Macon City Auditorium. Our girl Sheila E is coming to do a tribute to Prince. And y'all know that was Prince's girl, Sheila E. But the African American Tubman Museum, Mr. Chairman, let's talk about the Tubman and its importance to this community and the economic impact that it constantly has with all of its events like all that jazz and the Pan-African Festival. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I want to thank you and the commissioners for finally allowing some funding to come to the top. We've been getting funding, but that hotel motel that has really made a difference. When you got to pay utility bills and all this bill and your salaries and everything, and all of a sudden you get an influx of anywhere from 19 to 20 some $1,000s a month. That really sets you up to be able to do some things without struggling. Well, where am I going to raise or get this money from here? And the economic impact of the Tubman, so many people don't realize, some of our leaders don't realize the people that come in from all over the country, because we got it mapped out where they come from: the Carolinas, Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, all of that. These people got to stay in a hotel someplace. They got to buy gas. They got to buy food, and so that goes back to our city or county coffers. And so that's an important thing. And the exposure, when people come out of town, they are just amazed that we have a 49,000 square foot museum that's dedicated to African American art, history, and culture. They are so excited. More so than sometimes our local people, sometimes that haven't even been in the Tubman, haven't brought the kids to the Tubman, to see about our history, our culture, our people. And we're not discriminating against anybody else, but we're teaching about
Our
we
culture, who we are,
Yeah.
and our culture. And it's a beautiful facility,
Yeah.
man. And, we'd encourage folks to come out during business hours and become a member of the Tubman. Tell them during business hours what time they can go. And it's very, very inexpensive.
Yeah, it's very inexpensive. To be a member, you're talking about $30 for a whole year to be able to come into the events we have there. You don't have to pay any extra money. You come to the event. So it's just really an exciting place to come and learn about you.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's taught in school about Harriet Tubman. So, and the center is named after her and founded by brother
Richard Kyle.
Richard Kyle,
Catholic priest.
Yeah, Catholic priest.
Catholic priest.
Man.
And we got a life-size replica of Harriet Tubman, the real Harriet Tubman. It's very, very impressive.
So impressive. How can people reach you, man, if they want to get some more of this knowledge and wisdom and do business with you? Folks that's struggling, don't understand the importance of insurance.
Yeah. You can call me at Billy Pitts, 746-2655, or you can email me at pitts.billy@principal.com.
Say a number then, because I got all your numbers.
Yeah, my office number is 478-746-2655. My email that you can email me at pitts.billy@principal.com.
Let me tell you one of the other things you taught me before we go. Al, if I call you, call me back. Or more importantly, pick up the phone. You're not the only one busy. And Billy, that's one of the things I try and do, man. You may not answer the phone, but as important as you are and as busy as you are, if you call Billy Pitts, he gonna call you back.
Yeah.
If you call Al Tillman, he gonna call you back. Why is that important, man?
I think it's just being consistent in caring about people. Because if you call me, I'm thinking you called me for a reason. And if I don't call you back, I'm not showing you I care about you. You're not important enough, and vice versa. So you got to be careful when you ask people to call you back, or you tell you going to call them back. You don't call. That sends out a negative message, and you don't need that. And I've told you about some of your and our other friends.
Yeah.
People, they won't call you back.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things they say. They may be good people, but they don't call you back.
And sometimes we as the county, we paying for their phone.
There you go.
So you're doing business, man. You got a lot of clients in Macon-Bibb County. I want people to know some of your clients because I want them to know the importance of you. You're not just doing business just with anybody. You got some real important people out there.
Well,
in this community you're doing business with
well,
that are your clients.
Yeah, my clients are not only in this community, but the state and out of state. So I've got clients in Florida, in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and clients here, and all the major local government entities, including the city of Macon, the Chamber of Commerce.
You still doing the Water Authority?
Water Authority. Have been for 20-some years.
Yeah.
Even though they're going through a little struggle now, but I do the planning and zoning. I do Visit Macon.
Yeah.
I do the community foundation.
Well, listen, I was blessed to be a part of planning and zoning, and
and it's still going on today. We just met this morning.
Make a friend before you need a friend.
That's it.
And that's one of the things that I think you and I always share. Remember, when you get to the table,
that's it.
You have to give back and make sure you bring your folks in.
Yeah.
When you in authority and leadership.
That's right.
Especially when you realize and your folks being mistreated, like just give them a fair share. Yeah. I ain't asking for nothing. Just give me a fair break.
And I mean this morning, that came up about when we first came in. People find out later they've been mistreated. All
this is it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Al Tillman Show. It's been a pleasure. Miss Maylene, we're going to talk to you next week. We just went on. I know you standing by. This is Al Tillman. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. If you want to reach Billy Pitts, give him a call at 478-746-2655. It's been a pleasure, my brother. Thank you. Right here. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same station. This is Al Tillman, and I'm out of here. Be blessed.
Appreciate it.
It's the Al Tillman Show.
Al Tillman. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Al Tillman Show right here on The Glory.
Glory, glory. Every Thursday at 4:30 p.m.
I appreciate folks tuning in.
Yeah, y'all just act like I'm just not him.
Tune into
WDDO.live. That's what's happening.
A blast off of entertainment and community news.
And everything.
Yeah, that's some good information.
Can I get a witness up in here?
Yes, baby. Because they know I don't play him.
Streaming live on your smart devices and all social media platforms. Tune in on the iconic WDDO.
Each and every
Thursday, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Featuring Miss Maylene.
You know I know some things, baby.
Right here on 107.9 The Glory.
The Al Tillman Show. Every Thursday. Don't miss it.
Al Tillman.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.